just going to do a quick when to harvest your hops video. I'm not an expert on it, but from basically what I've learned last year and some stuff that I've read, the first thing you want to look for is kind of the browning of the tips, like right here. That's kind of letting you know that they're getting pretty close. The second thing I visually look for is that they'll start to fray out on the edges there. You see, they'll start to kind of separate from the main part of the cone. The little tips will start to kind of come apart. That's another good indication that they're starting to become getting close to being ready. As you can see, some of these are farther along than others. I mean, maybe they just look like it, but you got some really small ones back here. These are massive hops. Look at those. But I mean, some of these guys are barely kind of getting. This guy right here is basically just started. So they're not all gonna go at exactly the same time, but they should be pretty close. One nice thing about doing on small scales, you can. Oh, look at this one. That'll really start to fray apart. So the second thing I always look for is paperness. See, this one is just fraying, but it's still really wet feeling. It's strange. Let's see this guy over here. They're starting to get papery. Still a little spongy in my opinion, but yeah, they want to become kind of papery and they'll have that kind of sound to them. The next thing I look for is, I'll pull one off here, is just the way that they smell. So just so I can do this on camera. I'll split one apart, just right down the middle like that, and you can look inside. There's lots of that lupulin in there. That's not necessarily a indication of that it's ready. Just because it has lupulin doesn't mean much. These have had lupulin for a couple weeks now. They basically have looked like this for a couple weeks. But here's the big test for me. Is a smell. They'll start to, when they're not ready, they'll definitely have like a grassy vegetable smell. So 2 weeks ago, these things didn't even really smell like hops at all. They just smelled like you were smelling any kind of a leaf that you kind of rub together. Now they're starting to have definitely a hop aroma, but they still have that vegetable smell to them. So just break them. It'll also become really oily, kind of like not oily, but a sticky, gummy type feel that lupulin will put off. But that's definitely what I look for. Smell a couple of them. See, this one has definitely a different aroma to it. It's definitely not as done as that last one. This one definitely has more of a vegetable and less hop aroma to it. So based upon what I've seen is I could no, I'm definitely not ready yet. I think one of the mistakes that people do is they'll pick their hops too early. They'll say, oh, they're big and they got some papery feel to them. Let's pick them and dry them. It's not really what you want to do. What you'll end up doing is putting a lot of grass flavors into your beer that you'll have, and they won't have the oil content, and they just won't. It won't be a good hop. So you definitely, here's some Centennial. Centennials. Those are all Cascades I was looking at. These ones are looking like, these ones just look different than my Cascades. These ones actually have more bounce to them. They're starting to fray out a little bit. Let's pick this one and smell it. Okay. So as you can see in this one, it's a different color. It looks different. There's still lupulin, but it's a different hop, so it's obviously not going to look the same. It's a lighter color as well. Let's smell it. This one Centennial definitely has more of a burnt hop smell. But this one actually has more, I would say, quote unquote, hop aroma and less vegetable than my Cascades. I mean, this one really smells like when you break open a bag of hops and you take a big whiff of them. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, that's one thing to consider. I would say that my Centennials are more done than my Cascades, even though I think my Cascades look more done. But I'll definitely, once they start browning really bad, or really start coming brown on the tips, that aroma will start to come through more. But yeah, anyways, back on topic. I think people they harvest their hops too early, and it'll give them a bad taste. I mean, hops, you can buy a pound of hops for $12. So I'm trying to get good hops, not just my hops, in my opinion. So I mean, I've probably saved $20-30 worth of hops, and I've put a lot of time and effort into them. So you definitely want to get good hops, not just your hops, in my opinion. If you just wanted hops, you could just go buy them. But so I think people harvest too early. One thing I noticed last year is they'll kind of they'll have all the descriptors I say. They'll start looking more brown than the ones I've shown you. Definitely, they'll all be browning on the tips, even more than these guys right here. And then that's probably a really good indication if you really want to start thinking about it. And then they'll go from that to like dead brown in about a week or 10 days. And that's obviously not what you want either. They're pretty much too gone. So that's what happened to me last year. I just didn't even have time to. They weren't really. Last year, they weren't even that big. I mean, there was not even a couple ounces on there, so I didn't even bother picking them. But I was smelling them all the time, and they definitely went from a nice aroma to just dead within a week to 10 days. So that's something to keep track of. But yeah, so don't pick your tops too early. Hopefully that helps a little bit, and we'll see you guys later.